Hey Project 5, welcome back to your very own YouTube show, Take 5, episode 3 of Mission Control Month. I'm so excited to continue, so let's check it out. All right, Project 5, like I said, we are on week 3 of our Mission Control recap where we're going to have a craft together and kind of talk about what we talked about last week. I'm really excited about this one. It's my favorite one to do. It's called a DIY Constellation canvas. And this is where we are going to make the night sky across the canvas and then put our favorite constellation in there. I am doing Pegasus, which is a winged horse. It's one of the many constellations that we can see in the night sky. You can go online and just type in star constellations and all of them will come up and you can choose whichever one you would like to do. I actually put a website below in the description where it gives us a nice kind of outlay of some of the stars so you know how to put them on the canvas when we get there. Now, what you'll need for this craft is you will need a white 8x10 or bigger if you want a bigger canvas to paint on. You're gonna want some sort of space, like as you can see, I'm moving this board. This is my painting board. You wanna make sure you have a space where you can paint and get it a little messy where it's not gonna hurt anything. You're gonna want a plate to put your paint in. You see I already have some paint in there. A cup of water for your paint brushes, which I've already done some painting today. You need paint, you need white paint, and you need black paint. Black and white paint. I use acrylic paint, dries quicker, and it's great for canvases. You'll want some paint brushes. You want some big ones and some small ones. And then the fun part is the lights. You're gonna want some mini string of lights because you are going to actually cut holes in your canvas after we paint it and poke through these lights to see your constellation. So the last thing you're gonna need, and I'm telling you right now, you cannot use this without your parents' permission or your parent with you, or maybe they won't even let you use it. You need your parent to do this, and it is some sort of box cutter or X-Acto knife that you can cut into this canvas. So I'm using a box cutter. I'm allowed, I'm an adult. You need to ask your parents. So if you wanna do this, you need to talk to your parents. You need to have them use this. I am not responsible for you using this. I'm telling you no, no, and no. Ask your parents. So if they're not home, wait until they get home so you can talk to them about doing this craft with you. So that's everything you need, and let's get started. So the first thing you need to do is you need to put just a little bit. If you're doing this kind of a canvas, this size, you are not gonna need that much black paint. Black paint like goes a long way. So put some black paint in your plate, and we're gonna cover this whole canvas. Now I'm not gonna do the edges, I'm just gonna kind of do the corners, but you can do the whole edge if you want to. So let's get started. Oh, and once your black paint is on, we're gonna let it dry. So it might take about an hour to dry. So let's go ahead and open up our black paint and get started. Oh, okay, so as you can see, I have on more on this canvas than just black paint. So right now your canvas should only have black paint on it. The problem was I was recording this and my phone stopped recording without telling me, so I went a little ahead. But it's okay, I'm gonna walk you through it. So right now your canvas should have all black paint on it. The next thing you need to do is get a brush. Like I used this brush right here. It's very bristly, and I put it in my white paint and I tapped it all over my canvas. And then I also used a smaller brush like this, and put smaller dots around it, just kind of making it a little unique, because what you're doing is you're creating your galaxy night sky around on your black canvas. So that way, when you have your lighted constellation, it looks like the stars in the sky. Now mine's a little clumpy. Like I have some clump spots and stuff, and that's okay. If you have some clump spots, it's okay as long as you like it. And if you mess up, the great thing is it's black paint on the back and you can cover that up real easy. Just take your black paint, swipe it back over, wait for it to dry, and start over. But I liked mine and how it turned out. So go ahead and do that, and we'll be right back. Okay, so you should have your galaxy of stars on your canvas, as I do. The next thing we're going to do, since it's dried, so make sure it's dry. If you haven't let it dry, pause the video, let it dry. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our constellation. So mine is Pegasus, and it has like an awkward kind of diamond with 2 off to the side for the wings. I am going to take one of my brushes, this brush right here. So it's a pretty good size. Dip it in my white paint and make bigger circles of where it is. So if you look at my canvas, there's a big circle there, big circle there, big circle, circle, circle. Those circles are where I'm actually gonna end up cutting my canvas. So this is you getting your canvas ready to cut open. So make sure that you put those where you need them and where you kind of want it on your canvas. And when you're done with that, come back on here and I will show you and your parents, because I'm telling you right now, do not use this knife without your parents when you get back from putting your dots on here. So see you soon. Okay, so you should have everything ready on your canvas. You should have your black, you should have your stars, and you should have your bigger dots to know where to cut for. So remember, we're using a box cutter knife, so that means your parents need to be doing this. Do not let your parents do this part. You need to do it. So parents who are listening and doing this craft with your student, where their bigger dots are, you are gonna cut a small little hole to fit, they fell down, to fit a light in. So let's go ahead and do that. So now that we finished our DIY constellation canvas, I want to talk to us a little bit about the stars and what the stars were to a lot of people in the ancient times. Do you know the stars were actually a GPS system for travelers back in the day? You didn't? Well, they were. Now, it's not like Siri. They couldn't just look up in the stars and say, hey, North Star, I need to go here, and the North Star would plan it out. No, they had to find the North Star and then figure out from there exactly which way they needed to go. And it was really difficult because sometimes when there was fog, they couldn't see the stars, and they really had to go off of what they learned to know which way that they were gonna go, and following those stars were really difficult. And you know, we've been talking about making wise choices, and last week we talked about what the stakes are if we don't obey. And this week we talked about how hard it is to follow somebody, especially when you want to do your own thing or you want to put your own set of rules into place. But just like the travelers back then, they needed to follow that star that knew where it was going. That star was always facing north, no matter where it was in the sky, wherever you were, wherever you found it, it was always facing north. So with that, it's kind of like God. God is always our north point. He's always going to show us the right direction and where we need to go. We just need to choose to follow him. And sometimes, yeah, it feels like we're in a fog. Sometimes it feels like, you don't even think God is there. Now, he is always there with you, just like that North Star is always in the sky. But we, as travelers, as followers, can't always hear or see him. And those are the moments when we really have to trust his word and to follow him even more, even when we're in the midst of a fog. And it's just like with our parents that we talked about last week. Just like we need to obey our parents, we need to follow our parents. Just like we need to obey our teachers and leaders, we need to follow our teachers and leaders. Now, the ones we need to watch out for are our friends. Now, sometimes we are going to have great friends who are going to help us, and we can follow them in the right direction, and they're going after God too, and that's great. But there are also friends that we're going to have that do not follow Jesus and can lead us down the wrong path and take us away from that North Star. So we need to really think about who we follow. I know sometimes we want to follow what our friends are doing, but it's not always the right direction. We always have to look for that North Star and make sure we're following that North Star, which in this case is God. So I hope you had fun making your canvas. I hope that this past week was a lot of fun for you. We have one more week of mission control left, and we have one more project that we're going to do together next week on Take 5. So I will see you then. Bye.